Good morning, everybody. How are you? Tuesday. Oh, boy. Busy morning. Lucy drove me crazy. That's just the way she gets some days. Every 6 months or so, she decides she wants to eat every blade of grass on this mountain. She has to get out of the house. She has to go. She has to go. She has to go. So, like, I left the house at like 7:30 this morning. She don't need to pee. She don't need to poop. She wants to eat grass. And about halfway through the walk, she decided she's tired, you know? And she walked like an old lady the rest of the way. I finally get home. I feed her. I feed me. Do whatever else I have to do. And it's what it is what it is. Uh, so, anyhow, the Pope is refusing to back down against Donald Trump and say he's right and kiss his ass. You know, I don't know whether I saw it before or after I did the video yesterday, that this guy put a video up which made him look like Jesus Christ. That'd be a liberal interpretation, but whatever it wasn't right. It was very bad taste, which is, in Trump's opinion, is good taste. And so it was he said it was about a doctor in the Red Cross, and I've never seen a doctor dressed like that. That's a divinity portrait, and that scumbag got what he deserved from everybody. He had to take it down. But then, the headlines are the Pope is not backing down, and I don't think he has to. Trump is insulting him at every turn. And by insulting the Pope, you're insulting Catholics all over the world. Now, I'm not a legitimate Catholic because I don't go to church. I don't believe in it. I believe in God. I just don't believe in religions. That's a long story, a very debatable subject, which I've debated with priests and Jewish friends. But it is what it is. And that's it. You have your beliefs, that's fine. Just don't, it's like if you're gay, don't be grabbing my ass, because I'm not gay, okay? But I don't care if you're gay, hang out, give you a hug, everything, whatever you want, no problem. We're friends. We're friends, but the same thing with religion. I don't care how you believe, my argument, like certain religions, I have arguments because of interpretation. Catholicism is one of them. That is based upon interpretation of the writings that are out there. If you read the writings, and not the prophecies, just the writings, And most of these priests and whatnot that started religions were prophets at one point in time. And believe me, people want to know there's something after death. That gives them a lot of hope. I mean, you got the Muslim religions, they talk these guys into committing suicide. Suicide bombing, and they get 40 virgins or something like that. Dude, have you ever had sex with a virgin? It can be messy, it can be inappropriate, it can be a lot of things. It's not the greatest thing on earth, Give me a couple of 40-year-olds that know what they're doing, you know what I'm saying? But that's the Muslim religion. I'm not sure about some of the other religions because I don't really follow them, and I don't have any friends that can talk to me about it, and I don't see any stories in the newspapers about it because they're very quiet. Buddhists, and like my stepson's what do you call that religion? I don't know. They built a church in Parsippany just before I left this religion. It's sort of like Buddhist, only it's happier. Krishna, Hare Krishna. You know, the guys in the airport, Krishna, Happy Krishna, you know, symbols and money. Give me money. They're all the same. Anyhow, that's a dumb argument. He's not a very smart man to argue with the Pope, and he just should, you know, yeah, you should simply say it like, well, he's got his opinion, we have ours, but, you know, we're still friends. He doesn't do that, you know. That's the stupidity of the man. You have to agree with him. If you don't agree with him, you're his enemy. Well, that takes care of about 90% of the world. Anyhow, Oban, the president of Hungary, lost the election, big election. Trump lost an ally. Netanyahu, the Jewish prime minister, he lost an ally. You know, and this guy was, you know, very, very tough man. So now I don't know what's going to happen over there or anything else, you know. But it's better for the Ukraine, and it's probably better for the world that they change governments. But you know, it takes a long time when you change a government to see any reaction, and that's the problem with when people start getting upset after an election, because they want immediate gratification, and it doesn't work that way. You know. Trump is still benefiting or being harmed by things that Biden did. You know, it takes a couple of years for a lot of these things to come in and hit. You know, they don't just hit that day. You know, because it takes you put something into action. You have to have the infrastructure in place, and they don't. See, this is live, folks. This is me. I don't edit these videos. I yawn right in your face. You don't like it? Drink some coffee. But anyhow. And then we have Kanye West. Now there's an accident. You know, somehow or another this man is still existing in the world with Nazis, sympathizer, and Nazis did not like black people. They put them in the same class as Jews, you know. They just, they didn't want them. They didn't like them because they were the white race. They felt that their race, the German race, was superior to all others in physicality and mental acuity. So they were like, you know, you see pictures of the Australians all going surfing and everything like that. They're not. That's just because they live in a country where that's just, you know, the way of life. You know, it's not a statement about the rest of the world. Germany made it a statement about the rest of the world being physically inferior to them. Well, you know, they got their asses kicked. They were technologically superior. They just weren't intellectually superior when it came to war. War is an intellectual battle, by the way. It's not just all about physical, you know, slamming and I've got a bigger dick than you have, you know, which is what Trump is going around saying. We're using the Navy. He says, I got a bigger dick than you do. No, you don't. You got a little tiny dick, you schmuck. All right. Anyhow, Kanye West is just an idiot, but we all knew that, right? I hope we did. Anyhow, he's got a lot of money, so people still pay attention to him. I have to wait and see what happens. We'll wait, you know. I don't know when we'll find out, but we'll wait. Anyhow, J.D. Vance is, he's getting blamed for a double fail in those talks. And he was set up to fail. First of all, the negotiations, it was explained to me last night. on CNN, the people that were present at the negotiation from the other side did not have the ability to make a deal until they talked to their superiors in Iran, and wherever they were, wherever what rock they were hiding under or what that was. They couldn't make decisions on their own. They couldn't answer. They couldn't make a deal. So there was declared a no deal. Now they went back and they talked, and then they came back to the table. I don't think Vance is there for the second round. But anyhow, they blame Vance. And all he did is take the attitude he was supposed to have, which was Trump's attitude. This is what we want. This is what we're going to get. Oh, there's going to be a deal. We're not here to compromise. We're here to have you surrender and give us everything we want. And Trump's walking around saying they'll give us everything they want. Never going to happen. It's a never-stopping war, okay? They'll fight till there's nobody left to fight. You want to nuke the country, go right ahead. But he wanted to take everything that was that Iranians had done, especially the nuclear energy part of it, and confiscate it. So nobody could have it except the United States. And that would require us putting a fairly large military presence into Iran. And within a couple of years, those guys are going to get bored shitless, and something bad's going to happen. But that's just the way it works, You got to understand humans before you can go around and make threats the way he does. You know what I mean? But he goes around and he makes these threats, and it's just stupid. And now, I don't like J.D. Vance, all right? I don't like him because I doubt if I would like him one way or the other, but he was a Democrat that became a Republican that decided that walking around and calling Trump Hitler, and then he became vice president, and now Hitler isn't such a bad person anymore. He went into this negotiations after saying that he did not believe that we should have gone into. He didn't believe in the Iran situation. He didn't believe in we should have attacked them first and all that, But he was stuck with it. So he went in there and he took the attitude that, this is the right thing. We did it, so you guys got to surrender because we're right and you're wrong. No. You're going to have a lot of trouble depending on what happens in the next few months. By November, Vance is going to have a lot of trouble staying vice president, and a lot of trouble with any kind of political future after this, You just can't do it. He can't come out, he can't get fired or something like that and come out and say, I was fired for disagreeing with the man, and he can't take a stand against Donald Trump, which would be the smart move. As a Republican, he would probably do it as change parties. And that's, again, not going to happen because, you can't keep doing that. You can't run it as an independent. You have to come out and say, I am a Republican against Donald Trump. I don't believe he's right. So, what's that leave us with for topics to talk about? They had the WNBA draft. The girls are starting to get paid some fantastic money. They play good basketball. They really do. It's something I enjoy watching from time to time, But I don't get enough of it down here. I found out about the draft when the last player was being chosen, and I read headlines this morning. UCLA set some sort of record. I don't know. Maybe for the most players drafted. They had a good team this year. Excuse me. But okay. I'm trying to read headlines and I can't see that far anymore. Isn't that ridiculous? I got my eyes tested. My eyes are the same as they were last year, but yet I can't see that well anymore. I think these glasses suck or something. I don't know. Maybe my diet sucks. Maybe I'm just dying. I don't know. It's very difficult to breathe in this town today because the pollution level is like, it looks, you go look across the street and you see this haze on the mountains. You say, oh, it must be humid. That's pollution, ladies and gentlemen. This is this is like almost as bad as China down here now. All right, listen up. I'm done here. I'm going over and do a live video in about 10 minutes. Everybody go rush over there so you can hear the same shit again, okay? Only difference is you get to comment on it. I'll see you guys later, and don't forget to subscribe on the way out. I've had 24 subscriptions for the last month. I need an improvement. Let's get with the program, people, okay? Push, 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 push. All right, talk to you tomorrow. Bye.